Hello and welcome to the Boomtown Hoops post-game show. Ignore the draft thing. I apologize. We're a little rough. But yeah, Jameson, what let's talk about this. So the Thunder get a surprising 76-72 win over the Detroit Pistons and number 1 pick Cade Cunningham. But of course, the biggest story of all, if you have been following this, Josh Giddey, the number 6 pick, goes down with an injury right after a really cool, inspiring dunk. It was a real bummer. But Jameson, you're pretty in tune on this stuff. Shout out Fantasy Doctors. How concerned are you about the injury?
I'm not really concerned about it at all. If you watch the play, he turns in and his right ankle everts in the strong ankle ligaments of the right held still, but the instability of that right ankle causes his left ankle just to slightly turn. It doesn't go full 90 degrees. We're not talking like a Ja Morant ankle injury, anything like that. It was just a little bit of a tweak. And I was looking back into his past. He has a past history of ankle injuries. So that means that if you have a past ankle injury, you don't swell as much whenever you have these. So most likely he probably can get back for the Wednesday game. No problem. But we'll just see how the Thunder baby it. But this isn't something to get really scared of and pull your hair out on, because ankle injuries are typically really mild.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where, like you said, it looked like he just kind of tweaked it a little bit. I wouldn't be too worried about it. He did leave the floor for a while. Went back into the locker room to be treated. So the Thunder are taking it serious. But let's be honest, the Thunder take everything serious when it comes to injuries. So I wouldn't worry about it. But outside of that, we actually have some pretty fun basketball to talk about. This new summer Thunder, I'm kind of falling in love with them already. So because it's summer league and because it's overreaction season, Jameson, what is your biggest overreaction from this game, and how hard are you trying to fight it?
Okay, I'll go with this. I'm not going to hop on the Trey Man because I think that's just BS. I think overreaction, you got to stay positive. So my thing is Aaron Wiggins is actually going to be a fun two-way player that is composed rather than crazy mode, of the two-way players that we had last year in Moses Brown and Josh Hall. Josh Hall, when he got onto the floor, you never know what you're going to get. He'd throw something off the backboard, something crazy. Aaron Wiggins' footwork, he's making spin moves with it looks like a travel, but it's just really good footwork. He's making some good plays.
Yeah, that one specific spin move he had where it felt like he just glided through the air. It was beautiful. I legitimately just said ooh-wee out loud after watching it in a game that does not count. But yeah, Wiggins was very impressive for me. I was a big fan of Jeremiah Robinson. Robinson Earl, I thought he was really good. I know a lot of that is the Pistons had zero interest in playing interior defense. So we kind of, for the most part of the game, at the very end, they tightened up and the Thunder offense did struggle. But Robinson Earl was really getting whatever he wanted, at the hoop. I thought he was very good. 6 for 12 shooting, 14 points. I thought he looked pretty good. He was a guy that, I really think could be a solid perimeter defender as well as a stretch kind of 5 type of guy. What are your thoughts on Robinson Earl?
Well, you're telling me that Luka Garza didn't want to play interior defense? No, that's crazy. Why the best player in college basketball this year went 52nd overall. But yeah, Jeremiah Robinson Earl. I talked to a couple of our friends. This is a guy I loved. I said this was my sleeper in the draft before the draft. I just think he's a plug and play kind of guy that his game fits perfectly into the NBA. Give good kind of correlation to PJ Tucker's game almost, but he seems a little bit more fluid and not as feisty on the defensive end. I really like the way he stays composed and he just does the little things. And that's a type of guy that a team, a Boston or a mid-level contending team would love to have. And he's going to fit in right next to, Isaiah Roby in that small ball big man off the bench.
Yeah, we love ourselves a good small ball big man. We love ourselves a good big point guard. And talking about big, maybe not so much height, but my God, Teo Maladone he's gotten jacked. What is that? What is going on there? I'm stunned.
I think if this is happening to Teo, and we're just waiting for the great unveil of Poku's muscles here in about a month or so, Poku's gonna come out and he's gonna look like all of the photoshops, like the Alex Caruso photoshops, but in real life. Because the Thunder weight crew, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did it too. We tell our players take off and get muscle, get beefed up, and whatever we do. And we always say that the Thunder have these great facilities and the great practice and great nutrition and all that stuff. They're finding ways to put on muscle on our young guys.
Yeah, I mean it really is incredible to see after just one off season what that looks like. And Poku with other players as well, like basically all of the Thunder's main core, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, Mike Muscala were sitting courtside at Summer League, so that was really good to see. However, Poku was he was wearing like a little hoodie. I think he's covering up all the muscles. We don't know yet, It's gonna be a Steve Rogers level transformation. I think we're gonna have it's gonna be a really shocking October for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And whatever Poku supplements that he's taken, hopefully it's legal, and that's probably the reason he's not playing right now, because he get dinged for like illegal substances of muscle bulking if he was playing right now. I'm just kidding.
He needs to get it out of the system.
Yeah, I think that it would have been great to see Poku play in this summer league. It would have been fun, but like I said, our staff has a clear-cut plan for him this summer, and playing in these games isn't a part of it. So I believe the staff, and again, we have so many guys that we still want to see things out of. Aside from Giddey, we want to see a little bit more from Trey Mann. We want to see Teo as a leader. And then see if Charlie Brown, Jalen Horde, Josh Hall are guys worth it that we want to keep on this team moving forward, or were they just 1-year stints last year?
Yeah, Josh Hall, he had a couple flashes of game 72 versus the Clippers level Josh Hall, where he did some special stuff, but overall wasn't that impressive. Only 16 minutes. But of those, the other guys, the guys we haven't really talked about yet, who is the one person you want to see really show out in the summer league?
Yeah, that's tough for me, because those three guys I said, I'm just not, they don't get me out of bed excited. Josh Hall, Charlie Brown, and Jalen Horde are just, they kind of just stopgaps. I would, out of all of those, obviously you'd like to see Josh Hall do well, because how highly rated he was out of high school and the potential he could have. But, I just need to see a little bit more composure out of him. He just seems like he still is a little erratic on the court. But, he's still young. So I guess I'd be cheering more for Josh Hall. But like I said with, Aaron Wiggins, I feel like he's got a little bit more put together as a two-way player moving forward this season.
Yeah, if we can see some more consistent, if we see what we saw out of Wiggins tonight across these 4 games and into the playoffs, if they do that, I can't remember if they're doing that this year or not. That would be impressive. But one game does not make a good player. So seeing that consistency, seeing what happens out of that, that's going to be really interesting. I was a big fan of De Silva. I thought he was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the big man, and Teo was making him look good too. Teo, the way he was passing the ball, it looked like he's been there, and that's because he was a starting point guard on a NBA team for nearly over half of the league year. So yeah, he's going to look way more mature than all these people. But the Pistons, they had like Killian Hayes, Sekou, and Sadiq Bey. Those are 3 guys that have been, they played plenty of minutes in their NBA career so far. So it's not like we're playing against a bunch of, unseasoned scrubs.
Yeah, I mean, that was a Pistons team that might have, I mean, those are the core guys for Detroit. They put their guys in for the most part, other than Isaiah Stewart, who is on the roster, but it was a DNP coach's decision. I mean, this is a Pistons team that is legit. Like, you're going to see these guys playing, all 82, in the actual NBA season. So, give it up to the Thunder. I think part of it is maybe they looked a little hungrier. Maybe, they, took it a little more seriously than Detroit. Because after that, other than that, first burst of offense that you saw the Pistons have, it really just wasn't. They didn't seem that interested in this game at all. But I
Yeah,
will.
we definitely were a little bit feistier and we played it a little bit harder than them. But it's the first game of the summer league, so it's kind of hard to go on that. I feel like we'd be remiss to not talk about Cade Cunningham, even though we're an Oklahoma City Thunder basketball podcast, and we'll end on Trey Mann to end this episode. Because I know a lot of people are going to want to talk and overreact on that. But Cade Cunningham, we know so much about his game just watching him in college. And one thing that worried me the most, I guess two things that worried me the most about him is can he stay in the game and not get lost in the motions? And then two is his shot legitimate where he can be a 38 to 40% three-point shooter? And both of those things, even though it's one game, he looked like he was the leader. He was pumping up people on the sideline. Whenever he came in, he completely dictated the pace of the whole Pistons offense. And those couple threes that he hit were smooth and they looked like they should go in. Sometimes people that can't shoot, or guys that aren't that good. So say like Lou Dort in his first season, whenever he was hitting threes, they would go in, but it's like I didn't feel good about that shot coming out of his hand. Cade Cunningham, when the shot comes out of his hand, I feel good about it. It's got good mechanics, great up and down, and it just looks clean. This dude is going to be a superstar.
Yeah, it looked like it was on a rope or like shot by the Tokyo 2020 robot that they had for halftime show. It just looked automatic. It looked crisp, and that he was only 2 for 7 from 3, 5 for 17 from the field, but he has a feel for the game, and those shots are going to start falling. You don't want to go too intense on a game one when I know like a lot. The thing is like a lot of these other guys, like look at Jalen Green's game today, blew up. So yeah, let's chill on the Twitter police a little bit. It's gonna be okay. Let's not blow up on Cade just yet. And just like that, let's also not blow up on Trey Mann as well, who really not a great shooting performance at all from Mann. 3 for 14 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. But I thought there were little moments in the game where he had a really interesting feel. He's kind of frenetic in a way. He moves like he's like there are like fire ants in his shorts, and maybe that's just first game
He's
jitters,
small and
but
skinny.
yeah, he kind of scrambles around. He's interesting, but your thoughts on Mann? And did you see anything interesting there?
Yeah, the way he drove the ball and, a couple things at the rim were a little bit interesting. But what I noticed is more so his struggles this game was I could kind of tell he didn't really find his role within the offense and how to fit in. That's going to be a problem for him because, at Florida, he was the primary ball handler, pull-up shooter kind of guy. And, now that he's on the Thunder, we're looking more as a guy, maybe a transition pull-up if he wants to do that. But other than that, we need him spot up and create whenever we're in a jam. So I could tell that he didn't know his role and he was just kind of exploring himself and he forced a little bit too much. So that's not a skill thing. We're going to say Trey Mann sucks. Trey Mann's not talented. He's not, some person on Reddit saying give me Terrence Ferguson vibes. No, it's just because he's number 23 and that's just what your brain's connecting. So quit. That ain't even close. They play completely different games. But, it's just he needs just to find his role and just need to calm himself. And you know what? That is going to be exponentially easier whenever he's getting minutes next to NBA veterans like Shea, next to Dort and playing within the offense like that rather than playing in a summer league game.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, that it's hard to judge these guys in these systems because that's not what it's going to be like in, the actual NBA, and, as time progresses, he'll figure out his spot, I think. So I'm not too worried about it. It's one game. So anyways, before we leave, I got to say, interesting comment from our guy, Nathan Kramer. The fandom top shot moments about to hit the marketplace. That's going to be exciting for any of the top shot folks out there. Tell us a little bit what we got going here with that.
Yeah, so it's what the summer leagues got going is they essentially set up a booth in the outside like section 111, and they're just people line up and you can go and buy Top Shots that happened that day at the booth. And their special game that they are covering was our game versus the Pistons. They aren't selling rookies right now. They're going to wait for the regular season to do that, but they're selling, moments from like a Sadiq Bey that just happened, or a Teo Maladon. And you won't know what that moment is until after the game, but you pretty much bought your moment for that game at that stand. And they're going to be a new tier, and it's going to be big. And what's really cool about that is hopefully, they should have it at every single arena across the nation whenever the season starts. And then people are going to be walking around the 18,000 plus at Oklahoma City, going to be walking around. They'll see this and be like, oh, what's this? And then get them into Top Shot.
Yeah, I cannot wait to buy a Top Shot card at the Paycom Center. It's going to be a good time. I can't wait to get back in the arena in general, but that is what Top Shots, that's what it should be realized as. It's a great thing that can kind of tie you into it, and having a moment from a game you were actually at, that would be just wildly cool. So
yeah,
great move on that.
Definitely, they're expanding it. They're trying to make as many real life experiences that you can apply into the game. They've sent people to the draft. They sent people to Phoenix Game 5 with the finals. They sent people to Summer League through sweepstakes. And I wouldn't be surprised if you have a certain amount of Thunder cards in your account that you can get an unlocked special little benefit at the Paycom Center. That would not surprise me one bit, like a Top Shot VIP area for certain people. That makes complete sense. And the NBA completely backs them and everything. So there's going to be room for that. It's going to keep on getting bigger. And it's hit a huge little bump. So if y'all forgot about it this past couple days, accounts have been going up by 20, 30, 40%. So go take a gander if you've forgotten about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love Top Shot. We're going to fire that thing back up soon as
soon as I get a pack.
Yeah. It's been a packed desert right now, but let's end on a Thunder question, Jameson. Actually, just got a good question here from our guy Wash. Oklahoma City has a lot of cap room. Do you think there's any move coming? And what would you do?
So the whole thing is, are we going to get Markin or not? That's the one money move out there that would make sense. I just don't see it. I don't understand the marketing kind of things, because we have so many guys that we want to develop right now that are around us. And Markkanen, while he has a lot of skill, he does require more development. I think what we need more so on this team are veterans that have good teaching ability, that are good locker room guys, but don't require that many minutes. And those are type of guys that we can absorb in a trade of somebody like, say, Boston does want Lauri Markkanen. Say Dallas wants Lauri Markkanen, and they need to get off some salary. We can use our trade exception and take those players in and then plus an asset, and then we'll have a veteran that doesn't require much moving forward. But right now, I think we're still, with our trade exceptions that we have right now, we are actually operating like we're above the cap. So we don't need to make any moves right now.
Yeah, agreed. We did. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, and I think a lot of people are antsy because you see other teams making moves. You're kind of bored with it, but that's how this thing goes. I don't see us doing anything that big. It's all going to be about trying to get assets, absorbing other guys into the tax, and the Kemba thing really kind of took away a lot of the need to do that, because that is a lot of money that is just dead now. So, all right, Jameson, that's about all I think we got. Any final words before we end the show?
Yeah, let me say one more thing about this money and free agency thing. The Thunder are slow in every single free agency period ever. It's always like, oh, Sam Presti is just waiting it out and he's going to go get the scraps. That's what he always does. So, Presti's not getting the scraps anymore. I'm kidding. But, Presti is slow to begin with. And if you think that this season would cause him to be faster, that's a joke. He's going to be even slower now. He's going to wait and not overpay for anything. And if he can find anyone that he has a sliver of hope for, he's going to go in and pay them the least amount possible, because all of the money in the rest of the league is dried up.
I mean, honestly, The thing is, we've been through this before, Jameson. We've been through off seasons where we've gotten our hopes up on Pau Gasol, on Rudy Gay, and then it just pulled out from under us, like a rug, and it's always a bummer. But you just kind of have to learn to live with it. This is how it goes sometimes, and
Mhm.
right now it's going to be even worse. So yeah, that's just how
Yeah,
it is.
we'll be just fine. I think we have plenty of young guys for our fans to get behind and have fun.
Absolutely, this is a fun team. They might not be the best, but they're going to be fun. And I'll tell you this: enjoy watching Summer League right now because it's very fun to just fully be behind the Thunder winning. Not having to worry about tanking or any other outside forces. So I'm enjoying it, and we will be doing these post games all Summer League long. And yeah, so thank y'all for tuning in, Jameson. Thank you for joining me tonight. And yeah, y'all have a good night and Thunder up. I don't like the new layout because I can't find the clips. Oh,